You need to put the volume back on.
And the other thing too is one of the reasons they're not cleaning up after the dogs is the dogs are off leash, so they don't see the.
I hate that, yeah.
And
Tim Hunt is waiting. I just admitted Tim.
the problem is like there are a lot of doesn't seem to be more ideas that we can put forward, but in the end,
No.
it's spinning. Going to pay
So
attention,
what happened to the Zoom?
and it's going to get worse when
So I got to start the Zoom over.
we take away.
Go to Zoom meeting.
Great.
Right.
We're in a meeting, sign in. This doesn't make
No.
sense.
Oh, and we have more activities there. You can have dogs running around.
Oh, no, definitely not.
It's live on YouTube. I see. She says it's live on YouTube.
Okay, tell her to give us a second.
Right, so. Tell
her not to curse.
Oops, sorry. Keep me signed in. I hit that.
I'm sure they want.
Okay.
But I would be interested if it's out of commission for some period of time. It'll, right, change it.
Hi, Rich. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can't see you yet. Just give me a second, Tim.
We're challenged.
This is so weird. Here you are.
There he is.
Awesome. You're good, Tim. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. If we could stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the
United States of America and to the republic
Which stands
one nation, under God, indivisible, with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for
for all.
Justice for all.
Great. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. We'll ask Town Clerk Moody to do roll call.
All right. Supervisor Parity,
Here.
Councilwoman Foot here, Councilman Hunt,
Here,
thank you, and Councilman Davenport absent, Councilwoman Van Scoten.
here.
Thank you.
So we're going to start with vouchers.
All right, there were no amendments from the February 18th meeting. And so for tonight's vouchers, I have general vouchers number 93 through 118 for a total payment of $26,317.63. For highway fund, we have vouchers number 55 through 67 for a total payment of $89,506.56. For High Falls Water District, I have vouchers number 23 through 28 for a total payment of $11,033.17. For the RMC, I have vouchers number 28 through 43 for a total payment of $9,102.86. If I could have a motion for discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Well, Mary Ann beat you, Tim, thanks.
You're on vacation anyways.
Great. Any questions on the vouchers?
Well, the Mercedes-Benz
I knew you
financials
were gonna
that
ask that.
jumped out at
me too.
So we got our highway superintendent a new truck. No, so when we bought, this is our final payment. We bought one of the big plow trucks 6 years ago. And the best rate was actually Mercedes-Benz gave really good financing. So we went through them to finance the truck.
Wow.
So it was, I think it was 5 years. So this is the fifth year and final payment. So that big truck will be paid off after this check goes out.
And the Chemung Supply Company?
Chemung is
sand or-
it's probably salt
Okay.
or sand, one of
Yeah.
the two, or a combination. Yep. So those were the two big ones for the month. So
Or can I ask about for the High Falls Water District? Just 4,715 is Costco Heritage. What do we do with, how does that relate?
wait, that's not under High Falls Water. I don't see that under. I see Crown Castle, Kingston Auto Supply, Marbletown Hardware.
Costco Heritage is on general.
Oh, it's on general.
So it says High Falls Water District.
No, it says it's on the
I
front.
see.
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
general.
I was merging those two.
It's probably might be fuel for the trucks, for the highway trucks. Some of the buildings, that's all on county and state bid. So it's gotta be related to that.
It's heating oil.
Heating oil. Is it? It's more than heating oil though.
Yeah.
Or heating oil
At least
bills.
for this one, it's got heating oil.
It's gotta be for the trucks too.
Mhm.
Probably our or, to gas up the big dump trucks, plow trucks. Can you see it, Heather? Heather's.
This one's all says heating oil. These all say heating oil.
So. Is that all right, Tim?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, this was, one of them is heating oil for the community center,
Okay.
highway.
Highway. Yeah, it's a bunch of different things.
Combined, okay.
All right. Is that all right, Tim? Yeah, it's different, multiple vouchers, just one check.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. All in favor of the vouchers?
So
Aye.
many.
Bye.
Hey,
Opposed?
Tim, is it okay if I just put your initials on the sheet where you have to sign because you're not here?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're going to go with the minutes. Thank you, Heather. Heather sent them out earlier. Can I get a motion for discussion?
Second.
All right. Heather sent them out. Any questions? I thought they were fine.
Looks good to me.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, public comment. So we've got we have 6 resolutions on the agenda tonight. If anybody would like to speak on any of the agenda items, you can raise your hand and I'll call on you. Everybody signed up. Any questions on any of the resolutions? Okay, there'll be an opportunity to speak at the end if anybody has any other questions. So we'll get right into the resolutions. Resolution number 30 is with Teagan Bond, which is for our beach sanitary survey. So can I get a motion for discussion?
So moved.
This is with the grant we got. We'll pay Teagan Bond, along with part of this contract is for their engineering services. It's also for water analysis that they'll be doing for the water testing. So any questions on that?
I think
I would
it's
say it's like, to me, it seems like a really good partnership and glad to see this moving forward.
Great.
It's a mystery. Hopefully we'll get some
Yeah.
answers.
Good to find out.
And then we're going to have a kickoff meeting tomorrow, but with the rain, we postponed it. So I'll let everybody
Supposed to
know
rain tomorrow?
all day,
Yeah.
I think,
high winds.
and high winds. So we'll let everybody know when we're going to have another one. It'll be soon though. All right. And no more questions on it?
No.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried, 4-0. Resolution 31 is the agreement with Riverkeeper. Can I get a motion for discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
So Riverkeeper is this kind of like a little subcontract with Teagan Bond. They're going to be doing the collection and some necessary data work and sampling. And again, this is all covered under the grant. We're really lucky because the town's contribution is going to be in-kind work from Soil and Water. So we're going to have no contribution.
That makes the match.
That makes the match. It's in kind. So there's going to be no, we'll have to pay the bills and then submit for reimbursement, but it's at the end of the day, it'll be budget neutral. So, yeah. So any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 32 is the Hudson and Pacific Designs Agreement. Can I get a motion for discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. This is for Marbletown Meadows, where we didn't get the grant, but we would like to move forward with getting bids for the loop, the ADA compliant trail around the outside. And, we're going to have to probably reconfigure the parking. So this is Stefan from Hudson and Pacific was really instrumental in coming up, working with the town and a lot of people, Daisy and Dale and you, Tim, about coming up with a design for the park. So this is just to keep him on board to help us do the loop in the right spot and make sure everything, the bid packages are correct and the specs and all that good stuff, and reconfigure the parking. So any questions on that or comments? Nothing? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, resolution 33 is surplus to properties. Can I get a motion for discussion?
So moved.
Sorry.
Tim got that one.
Yep.
That was yours, Tim.
Mary Ann seconded.
Mary Ann seconded. We have 2 vacant pieces of property that I don't think the town has any use for. So these are to advertise, to declare them surplus and then to advertise to sell them. If we do get offers, obviously it would have to come back to the town board to accept any offers. And that's, subject to a permissive referendum. So this really just allows us to start the process to see what kind of interest there is in the property.
Rich, can you just talk a little bit about how we ended up with these properties?
Sure. The property on Barberry Road, that was a gentleman, he passed away, and he left his estate to a charity, and I think the charity was in New York City, but the charity was not allowed to collect property, inherit property. They could only inherit money and maybe other things. So they tried to sell it. I don't know how they tried to sell it. They never listed it, but they said they tried to sell it and they were not successful. So they asked if the town wanted to take it as a donation. So, we thought, we didn't really think it had much value to the town, but, we now can sell it and maybe make some money on it. So it's 8 acres, but if you look, there's really a narrow strip to get down to it. So it's probably just a building lot for one piece of property. It actually abuts up to the Woodland Apartments. So there may be interest from their end if they wanted to ever expand. So I think we'll see some interest in that property. So that's that one. And the one on Duck Pond Road, the gentleman bought it speculative and he really didn't have any use for it. So he asked us if the town wanted it. And I don't know why he didn't sell it. He just said he would just be happy donating it to the town. So we took that one. And, we've talked about when we did this, Daisy and I and the board, we talked about maybe creating a land bank or something with housing. But I think with the property, the Falaire property and the housing project there, that's going to keep us pretty busy. So we can just let these properties go and, maybe there'll be neighbors, maybe there'll be somebody that wants to build a house on it.
And so how does it work? Do we just list it with the local realtor? Or?
Well, that's what we can discuss. We can list it with a realtor or we can advertise it and if you look in the resolution, actually it's not in the resolution, but I found I sent it to Heather where we could just accept bids. We could say anybody interested in these properties have to submit bids to the town clerk's office by 1 p.m. on Friday, May 23rd or whatever
Like an
the
auction
date.
kind of.
And then Heather would open them up and whoever was the highest bidder, we would then move forward with closing with them. So, me personally, the Duck Pond Road property is a 0.6 acre property. I think there's enough neighbors that might be interested in it and people word of mouth that'll be looking at it. I don't know if we need to advertise it, but that's going to be, we can talk about it. This resolution is basically declaring it surplus and then we can go ahead
It's for sale.
and then we can decide how to sell it.
So, Rich, it seems like the resolution, tell me if I'm wrong, right? It describes the advertising of the property. I know, we've talked about making sure this is really transparent and think about the time period in which maybe we need to accept bids.
Yep.
I think it says not less than 10 days, but it doesn't.
Right, well, it says we can sell it through the MLS or by advertising in the official newspapers for a period of not less than 10 days. So we can deal with a real estate agent if we want, or we can just advertise our official newspapers are the Shangam Journal and the Daily Freeman. We could advertise them for 10 consecutive days. It doesn't mean it's only going to be advertised for 10 days. We just need to advertise it for 10 consecutive days for a date that the bids would have to be in. You know, it's almost no different than like a building project. All, you know, the masons and the electricians and everybody has to submit a bid by a certain date and you advertise it. I think if we put this on our website and it's in the papers, we notify the two papers, we advertise it on our website, our social media, I think we have more than enough people that will be interested in purchasing it. I don't think there'll be any shortage of people. But if you guys want to do a real estate agent, we'll do a real estate
No,
agent.
no, I think he was just trying to get a point of clarification on how that works. It's that, and I think I understand it now because you just don't want to like say, you're selling this property and then somebody calls you up the next day and says, okay, I'll buy it. You want to give everybody a chance.
Yeah, I think, and that's what we can, you know, this is basically surplusing it and saying we can do it by one of these two. You know, it was really no different than, I don't want to hash it over again, but the firehouse, we declared it surplus and then we went out and found a real estate agent and then we had another resolution signing the contract with the real estate agent. This just gives, if we're going to deal with a real estate agent, it'll come back to us. The only thing with dealing with a real estate agent is we may have to get it appraised first. Whereas if you just take the highest bidder, then it's just highest bidder. I don't care what you guys want to do. If it's a real estate agent, we pay a commission. It's probably not going to be a lot of money on Duck Pond Road. So I don't, you know, do we want to pay a commission? That's up to the five of us to decide, but I don't care either way. This just starts the ball rolling.
Okay, great.
And also, it's, you know, from Heather's point of view, is this a manageable task?
Yeah.
Bids, et cetera?
Well, yeah, I just advertise it and then the bids come to me and there's a date and time and they're opened.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that. I mean, I looked at what other towns had done. They did the town clerk. When we've done municipal projects, they come to the supervisor's office. It doesn't, I don't think either one of us care. I'm comfortable them going to Heather, but it really doesn't matter. You know, we have a log when somebody hands it in. It's a log, it's stored in the safe. And then the date and time we pick,
Yep.
Heather would open them up. People are welcome to come in. It's a public forum and they could, you know, and then if the sale didn't go through, it would go to the next closest bidder. I mean, there's a whole process, but,
Yeah.
so. Is that all right? Is that all right?
Sounds good.
I mean, and you know, and I know we've had a lot going on, but, you know, I have asked if anybody has a preference to a real estate agent or listing it. And I think nobody's really come to a decision yet. So, you know, if this passes, let's all think for the next 2 or 3 days what we want to do. And then we'll go from there.
Okay.
But this resolution gives us the option to do either or. Okay? Is that all right, Tim?
Yeah, I think as long as we have the option for now, just while we're getting some additional feedback.
Right. Yep. And yeah, and I've had calls on it even before long before this resolution was, we discussed it and it was put online. The last 2 or 3 months, I've had multiple people calling, asking if we're going to surplus, if we would sell those properties. So that's kind of what prompted it. There is interest out there. And one of the properties I've gotten 3 phone calls on. So that's why part of me is like, do we really have to deal with a real estate agent? We've got people already interested in them. And, you know, and I think we probably would get a price that's pretty fair for us and we'd be happy.
And then we would have, I guess, just as long as the offers are like, there's like a formal format, you know, like you would, you know, is it in writing? Is there the down, you know, we're asking for something down, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And that several eyes are going on it. That's the key, because we don't want one person, you know, feeling the responsibility of kind of making the decision or being able to respond to each of these offers.
Well, it would be once they were opened up, that person, we would, you know, I'm sure they would have an attorney and then they would deal with Tracy and then they would go through the process. Listen, this is land, so you're not dealing with banks. You're going to be dealing with somebody just writing a bank check out to the town. It's probably a pretty simple process to go through. So And I can't imagine somebody's going to put an offer in if they don't have the resources. They would look pretty silly. But you never know. All right, any other questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. Resolution 34 is appointing Parks, Trails, and Recreation members. Can I get a motion for discussion?
Second.
That was a close one. This is appointing members to the Parks, Trails, and Recreation Committee. We had a couple vacancies, and the Parks and Trails Committee met with several people. They made their recommendations, and there's still one vacancy that we may have another recommendation coming soon that we can discuss. But for now, this will get the committee up to eight members. Juliet is a reappointment. Marissa and Janitha are new appointments, and Kim is a new appointment. So there's 3 of the 4 appointments today. One's a reappointment, and the other 3 are new.
Is Tim the liaison?
Are
I
you?
am.
Oh,
We both are.
Oh,
you
okay.
both are. Were you in on the email that Clay sent?
I was not.
Okay. So they interviewed like 5 people, and they had these 3 recommendations, and then I think they're going back and forth on the other members, the other potential people. It was not an easy decision because everybody was, I think, pretty good, like what we usually get.
We had, so how many actually were submitted interest, and then we chose the 4?
Oh, God, there was.
5?
I
I
can look at my
think there were
original
5.
email.
One person, there were 6. One person withdrew
Yeah.
because she didn't have the time. And then, so one of these is a reappointment, Tim, and the other 3 are new. So there were 5,
I think it was 5.
and we're doing 3 today. And the other 2, I think they liked them both, and they were just trying to figure it out. So I told them, I said, let's get at least 3 on the board so they can start doing their business again. And then we got time to fill the other one.
Yeah, we have been waiting for a while, so it's
No, I know.
good to get going.
And they were down to 5 members, so if one person didn't show up, they didn't have a quorum.
Oh, yeah.
So it was really important to get these guys on. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that all right, Tim?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 35 is to support the Lower Sopus Stream Management Plan. And, we've been a little lax doing this, but can I get a motion for discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, this is basically because of the impacts from the releases from the DEP. There was flooding issues, erosion issues, water quality issues, and the DEP gave the county $2 million about, 7 years ago, Stuart, 7 or 8 years ago?
2011, I think.
So 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, no, it resulted from 2011. I think it was a couple years, but whatever. It was a long time ago. The county's really done nothing with it. If they invested it right, it should be 4 million right now, not 2 million. It should be 4 million. So this is basically just trying to get the creek vibrant again,
Yeah.
get it back up, clean water, erosion, and be able to do so. It's safe for the people that live along the Lower Sopus, but also allows recreation activities and so. Any questions on that?
My only, so, but this isn't getting, we're not, by passing this resolution, we're not taking a stand on what we think is causing erosion, right?
No, I took the one line out that said New York City unilaterally.
Right.
So I took that out. We didn't want to have anything in there that blamed anybody or accused anybody. We've got this money. We want, between the beach survey, we want the Sopus to be healthy and clean and full of activity and.
Great.
and,
Yeah, no, that was the only thing I was a
Sewers,
little
that kind of-
concerned, that was the only thing I was concerned about.
So,
There's an opportunity over the next few years for this thing to be part of our lives here.
Yeah.
The things that may be done long-term to participate with the other towns in improving the river. So
Great.
a lot of opportunities ahead. And for the last of the towns, I think, to sort of express solidarity with the overall county plan and all the work that's gone into it. So it's great that we've done it. Thank you.
and I'll send this out tomorrow to the appropriate folks. Cool. Any other questions?
No, just thanks to her for keeping this alive and keeping this in front of our eyes. It's good to support this initiative.
Yeah, thank you. All right, any other questions?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, quick, anything, Marianne? I'll let you guys go first.
Yeah, Walden Engineering's coming, our
Yep.
next board meeting. And so anybody who's interested in the aqueduct situation and how they're fixing the leaks, come and listen and have questions
Yep.
for him.
Ken will be here.
Ken.
Yep, and we're at the point now where Ken will be speccing out work on people's properties, so he'll be meeting with the property owners to go over, and then we're gonna start going out to bid.
Just for clarification, that's Walden's Ken, not,
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, not our Ken, that's Walden's Ken Bresner.
Yep.
And he might bring donuts, right?
Maybe.
He's got this really good bakery in Rockland County. He brings us donuts once in a while, so, for the holidays. But so, yeah, so that's gonna be our next meeting.
Oh, and he's going to look at the rail trail where we have a leak on Rest Place.
Yep. So we put a claim in
Yeah.
for, it's by the Rondout Manufacturing and down on Lucas Avenue, where they're having serious problems with leak and groundwater coming up under their driveway and their properties. And our rail trail's right behind it, and it's bubbling up on our rail trail too. So we put a claim in, and hopefully they'll mitigate, not hopefully, they will. He'll come up with a plan and to try to engineer it. So, yeah. Question, Tim?
Yeah, Rich, I have one clarification. Am I now the liaison for the High Falls Water District Board?
Yes.
Yes, we put you on.
Okay, so I'll have more to say about this next meeting.
Yep.
Been discussing with Tom
Yeah.
and the solar project.
Yep. So
Okay,
that's
yeah.
not this project. That's for the High Falls Water District.
That's what I mean.
Right.
That's what I'm talking
Yep.
about.
Yeah, no, definitely. We, we've got some grant money and some NYSERDA money and county money to do two different projects. One is is a renewable energy, a solar project. The other part of it is to make the building more energy efficient, to work on the envelope of the building and try to keep the heat in, so we're not using as much fuel oil to heat this big old open brick building. So the money
So
will
there'll be a resolution proposal discussed with the board, around the consultant for doing the assessment and the design for the solar project.
Right.
So it'll be two consulting fees.
right. And the building envelope is being done by New York Power Authority. So we're going to be dealing with two different, one organization and one funding source is coming from NYPA and NYSERDA, and the other one is going to come from us and the county. So, and Tim, that building, that property is half owned by Rosendale, so it's everything we do with there is two towns. So, and Tom knows that. He's met with Gene and Penny, their ECC chair, and their so we'll move forward with that too.
And both consulting fees would be incorporated by the grant, and they're paid for by the grant, so it's
Right.
not an additional cost to the town.
Well, just remember, although any cost associated with that comes out of the High Falls Water District, it's not the town budget. So,
Oh, I'm talking about the grant.
Right, but the
Paid for by
grant,
the grant.
right, it's specific for the water district. But if there is any out-of-pocket monies for any of those projects, they would be paid for by the High Falls Water District, not out of town funds. So, but good. So, yeah, thanks, Tim. I spoke to Tom earlier and he mentioned that, so. Cool. Anything, Daisy?
Yeah, I just, I wrote an email today to the, forwarded them, to the, Parks and Trails Committee about the article from the Woodstock paper. Woodstock had a park, which was somewhat similar to Marbletown Meadows, some very pristine woods and areas for walking. And they had an issue with off-leash dogs really screwing with the habitat, so they've decided to not allow the dogs anymore. I keep ringing the same bell. I know that the committee is about to have put up a larger sign there that says the dogs must be leashed. Although there is already a sign there, a smaller one, but a sign nonetheless. There's a couple of things. Again, people are not cleaning up after their dogs. But also the off-leash thing is really getting out of hand. Unfortunately, I think people think it's a dog park, but not a park where you walk your dog.
Right.
And there's a distinction in that. And, if folks want a dog park, that's a whole other conversation, but this was never meant to be a dog park.
Right.
And I'm a little concerned because, we're the stewards of this property. It's a really beautiful old property, and part of the reason we took this on was to protect it. And as we go forward and the property gets developed is the only word I can come up with, but as we work on the property and we create the trail and all of those things, and people are there to do activities, we just can't have a lot of dogs running around loose. I think also it worries me because there's a road there, and I know one of these days one of those dogs is going to get out and get hit. So, perhaps we can come up with some creative ideas on the committee on how to deal with this problem. Maybe I don't know. The committee will talk about it, but I would hate to get to the place where they have gotten to in Woodstock, where they've tried just about everything, and they've had to say no dogs. It would just be a shame, But to be honest with you, I haven't brought my dogs there in a while because my youngest dog, I'm training, and I don't want him to become reactive. He's been basically a couple of really big off-leash dogs of just, he was fine with it, but it could create an experience where, then he becomes reactive, and I don't want that to happen. So anyway, I am saying it again. If you're going to go there with your dogs, please leash your dogs. And if your dog doesn't like to be on a leash, don't bring your dog.
I spoke to a friend today who went there with her dog this morning, 2 big dogs off leash, and she didn't even feel comfortable to say something.
Well, and that's the other thing too.
You shouldn't have to
There's
say
a lot of
something.
people from out of town using the park, which is fine. But you can't play, if you're not going to follow our rules, please don't come.
And somebody stopped in the office yesterday and said there were 4 dogs off leash yesterday. They went there in the morning
Wow.
yesterday. And
And as I said again, it's becoming a dog park and not a park where you bring your dogs. It's a very
Listen,
big difference.
I am fine banning dogs if we have to.
Right. Well, let's see I'll talk to the committee in the next meeting, and maybe we can come up with, I actually liked your idea, Rich, about maybe asking people to, basically, if you want to bring your dogs, you have to get a permit to do it.
Yeah.
And,
Get a town permit and you
and
get it
if you
revoked.
abuse that privilege, then that's it. You don't get to bring your dog. And it might be an effective way to deal with people from out of town and things like that. So we'll see. Hopefully we won't have to do that. But
And this summer at our town park, a 9-year-old kid got bit by a dog off leash. 2 dogs off leash. 9-year-old kid got bit. The owner of the dogs ran to the car, got in it, left. The mom took the kid to wherever she took him, to the hospital or the Ready Care, and the kid had to get rabies shots and tetanus shots, and it's totally unacceptable. And nobody loves dogs as much as we do, but it is unfair to residents. It's unfair
And I
to
get it.
all
It's
of
very
us.
tempting. I've had my dogs there, my one dog is very good off leash. Would love to just let her.
You just can't do it.
Can't, that's not what the rule
The
in the park
rules are the
says.
rules, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. The rule, no.
How do you enforce, you wanna get involved in all that paperwork?
Yeah, yeah.
Enforcement?
It's just a shame that people,
How do you deal with that?
well, the one
Yeah,
thing
it's
I
a good
can
question.
say is that the committee is still, they're in the process of creating a much larger sign that's going to go there, because right now it's a little
So,
tiny sign.
You know how,
Maybe that'll help.
you know how we deal with it? We have actually a leash law. So we deal with it. We raise our taxes, we hire a constable, and they go down there and they write tickets to people. I don't want to get into that. But if we get sued because somebody's getting bit down there and the cost of our lawsuits and our insurance goes through the roof, it probably would get to the point it would be cheaper to hire a retired police officer to go down there and write tickets. And I think Marbletown residents don't want that and we don't need it. But if we try to do this thing as a place people can go to be safe and walk and enjoy the outdoors. And when dogs are off leash, it's not safe.
And I will say,
It's not always safe.
one other thing
On
too.
the rail trail.
Yeah, and it's rail trail's the same thing.
And you're afraid to say anything to the people.
Well, you also have to,
Especially on the,
Charles is,
especially
no, I'm not.
What do you
I
mean?
say stuff all the time.
when you're by yourself
No,
and they're
it's not-
there with two dogs off a leash. It's,
you know what? It's their,
I-
it's their job to follow the rules. And if they don't, then we need
And
to.
I also would say to people, if you're listening and you bring your dog there off leash, just remember, some people are afraid of dogs.
Exactly.
And so, and they have every right to use that park and go and walk there, so,
mean, we get
and it's
complaints.
one thing if your dog is on a leash and you're
We
controlling.
get complaints
every
in
day.
town hall all
Every
the
day.
time. And honestly, you could tell my
Every day.
frustration. It's getting old.
Yeah.
And if people can't follow the rules, then they need to be given a ticket or
Mm-hmm.
thrown off the property, or we give permits out. And if you go down there and your dog's off leash, your permit's revoked, or you get a $50 or $100 fine. I don't care what it is, but it's just not fair to us.
Right.
And it's not fair to people that, like you said, that don't want dogs coming up to them. Period. After. Sorry. So anyway, that's, thanks Daisy. And then,
And we're meeting with Ted on Thursday.
yes, Ted's Thursday. So we're going to hopefully have our ADU law for the next meeting. Ted's just been busy with some different issues going on. So he's going to finish that law. The county, I spoke to the county today, Kai. The county was awarded, not the county, RUPCO basically applied for the grant through the county for the ADU, the accessory dwelling program, the ADU +1. And Michelle's, we're gonna have something on our social media and website tomorrow. It's a first come, first serve. Marbletown's going to be allowed, we're included. It's $5 million. There's income levels. You can get up to $125,000 to create an accessory dwelling unit. And what Kai told me today was if people are basically shovel ready, if they've got engineered drawings, approved septic plans, a builder, even a building permit, and they apply, as long as they meet the income level, they will be awarded the grants immediately. He said the state wants these things built. So it's not like you have to get the grant and then you can start. He said you can have everything ready to go
Huh.
and have your built, if you could do all the engineering work today, have your plans, go to the building permit, get your building permit. And once this program starts, you can hand all that in with your application. And he said, you're going to be the one to get everything. You're
And
gonna
Rich,
get it.
was this the one that people were writing us about?
Yes. Yep.
Why, were we going to get in on it? And so now we are. Okay, great.
So it was my understanding it was going to start in July, but if I heard Kai right, he said it's going to be mid to late spring, which means April, May, or May, June,
Yeah.
March, April, May, June. So, but the RUPCO has been awarded the money. The link we're going to put on the website is from RUPCO, and it's about Ulster County, because RUPCO is administering this for Ulster County, Orange County, and Columbia County. So there's 3 different links. If you go to the Ulster County link and click on it, it says this program has ended. And that's because they ran out of money from the last program. The last program started in October
Wow.
and they gave the money out so fast.
It was that popular?
Yeah, it went out already. So it's really important that people who are interested in this program have your, try to get your ducks in a row lined up and be ready as soon as the grant opens up. So, and then did you want to say something about the grant extension or you wanted me to say it?
Yeah, you go ahead. We got the grant.
So we got the grant extended for 6 months and for heating. So Scott's working on that. He had a heating professional there the other day who gave some recommendations and we feel that's going to be separate from the building project. That's going to go out as one whole project. This is going to be a separate scope that we can get that done in a much quicker time frame. So
Actually turned out well for us because I think what they've come up with for the, I mean, same general principle of the air source heat pumps, but being able to do it in the basement, which is aesthetically much better. And we'll be able to use the vents in the floor, which will really help, make that building cozier.
existing vents.
Yeah, the existing vents, which is great. And it makes it, and I don't think, that didn't seem to be on the table before, but now we know that it is. And that's made me very happy.
Okay, anything else with new business? Heather, anything with you? Heather's collecting money,
Just collecting money.
still collecting her tax money.
Mhm.
So thank you. All right, so now we're going to go to public comment. Would anybody like to speak?
Lisa Janik, Marble Town Environmental Commission. I agree, Daisy, 100%. The meadow is getting a little dangerous. It's not bad. I have a little dog, just like yours, and he's reactive as well. He's fine, but the big dog's bounding already scares him and he gets reactive. But
Community
what's getting
centers.
dangerous is that people are coming into the parking lot and letting their dogs out.
It happens all the
Freely
time.
in the parking lot, and it's getting dangerous
That's
because
free
you're
money.
kind of cornered in there.
Right.
But, so anything we can do to support that, I'm all for it. Rich, can I just get back to you on the lots for sale? I think it's great that the town can profit from the sale of these properties. I'm just wondering, if you have a plan for what those funds will be used for yet, or will that go?
It'll go in the general budget.
It'll go into the general
It could
fund.
go to the Flair property. I mean, we'll use it. We've got some grants where we're going to match.
Well, it'll be great if we could keep it going towards the affordable housing project.
Well, that
Well,
could
that's
be.
Flair.
Yeah,
That's Flair.
so on the 21st, January 21st meeting, we talked about Flair, we talked about a lot about affordable housing. And it was exciting to hear about these two properties possibly being used for affordable housing. And it's my understanding that they weren't suitable for affordable housing, or they're just, you just want to focus on Flair for
I think
now.
that's what it was. It's like one is a 0.6 acre.
Right.
It's probably going to be somewhat of an affordable house because it's going to be limited what you can do the way that triangle is. It's not going to be a big mansion if somebody
Right.
wants to do
But
that.
But also, we're not in the business of affordable housing. We actually have to go out to someone, the town isn't going to be in the business of affordable
No,
housing.
Rich said it was gonna go to like Rockco or
Well,
something.
we had talked, or a housing.
But for them, that's not as interesting for them.
They want big, because.
Well, they don't want big, they don't want that
Multi-
small.
They need
Well,
multi.
no, but the other one behind Woodlands is bigger.
It's 8 acres, 8.5 acres.
Yeah, so are they interested in projects of that size, or it's us?
So Rupco wouldn't, if you look where the access is off Barbary Road,
Yeah.
it's probably 50 feet, 25 feet. It's a private drive, but then it's landlocked down below. So it doesn't have access to another road. So it could be attractive to the people that own the Woodland Apartments because they could put a road to it. So that's,
Is there any way to ask them if they can build some affordable units in that, if they do that?
so we're going to send all the neighboring property owners, we'll draw a line around maybe 500 feet from each property, and we'll send those owners a letter saying it's going to be, the property is available. I spoke to the new owners maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago when they first purchased it.
At Woodlands?
Woodlands. They bought it about 3 years ago. They're not from around here. It was my understanding the one guy I spoke to was from Chicago area. And they were looking to expand within their current footprint. And he had said to me, let me speak to my partners. And, when we're in town, we'd like to meet with you. And I was like, great. And I had not heard back from him. So that was maybe with 6 months after they bought it. So.
But is there any way that we can ask them that a percentage of?
Also,
their
Well,
units be affordable?
Well, the other thing is if somebody wanted to, let's say Woodland bought that
Right.
property, and that's what they wanted to do, was expand their footprint. At that point, they've got to come to the planning board, and when they do that, yeah, I mean, given how we as a town are proceeding and trying to advocate for, that would be probably that would be a no-brainer.
Right,
That would be,
right.
the town would just be like, okay, well, if you want to do X, Y, and Z, how about we try to do a plan? And sometimes they'll go for it and sometimes they won't. It depends, I mean,
Laura, please.
so it's, and the town can't, if they're doing, if they end up doing, this is just land speculation. If they wanted to build something, as long as they were following the rules, they can do whatever they want. But we can suggest something to them. We can't say, well, you're not going to be able to do X, Y, and Z, if you don't give us affordable housing, because if they're following the rules, then we can't stop it.
Right. Some areas have a requirement that a percentage of new building be affordable. I don't know about that.
Well, part of it too, I think, Lisa, is if they're getting federal or state funding, there's requirements for affordability. If they're just putting it out of their own pocket, then
Yeah.
there's no requirement, it would fall on us then. But if they use federal and state monies, a lot of times they're not going to subsidize you for, $1 million condos.
No.
They're not, they'll subsidize you for
All right, thanks.
lower. But, let's see where it goes. I mean, we'll send the letters out to the neighbors. We're going to advertise it, or we're going to list it with a real estate agent. And I think we're going to have plenty of offers on them. Just based on the one property, I got 3 calls. So I'm not too worried about it. I think the main problem is going to be neighbors maybe being aggravated by people driving down, looking at the properties for a few weeks. That might be the biggest aggravation, more than anything. So.
The Duck Pond Road, Rich, do you know offhand if there's room for a driveway, or do they need an easement?
No, I think there's access to Duck Pond.
It looks small on the lot.
Yeah. We can ask Tracy to look at it. That's a good question. It's probably something we
Well, that's
should
also
do.
something that anybody who buys property is gonna be doing their own due diligence on that, so.
Right. But no, it's a good question. I mean, I think it's got frontage, but I don't know for sure. It looks like it on a
Just
map.
that little tip of the triangle.
Yeah. And a driveway, you only need 10 feet for a single family house. It doesn't have to be too wide, so. Cool. Any other discussion? Tim?
If there are regulations on dogs, can Daisy still let me off leash?
No.
No.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry I was late, and if you discussed this, I apologize, but just any update on the town hall? I know the grant was extended, it sounds
Yeah,
like. and
That's
The heating is gonna be.
That's
addressed.
basically just the only news we have.
Okay,
And we're gonna, as soon as we get all our figures back from
Scott.
and, from the general contractor, whoever that is, and that process is fast tracked. It's on its way. When we get all those figures back, we'll have another conversation. We'll let everybody know what those are and what the next step.
Is there a contractor been chosen? or
No.
the contractor-
You can't choose a contractor till you go out to bid.
They have to go out to bid first.
So
How many bids will there be?
we don't know.
We have no
We
idea.
we had water meter project. We had no bids. We went out to bid twice. We got 0 bids. What?
Is there a minimum?
No, if one person bids on it. Yep,
I'm sorry, the first,
as long as you have one bidder, that's all it takes.
no, I mean, like, I guess you mean like an RFP, like.
Yeah, so if you go out,
also bid.
so if you go out to bid for a general contractor, you could get 7 people bidding on it. You could get 0 or 1. As long as one person bids on it, as long as they're a responsible bidder and the town board likes the price. I mean, if there's one bidder and they say $5 million, we don't have to award it to the person. So we would just see how many bidders. I mean, obviously, the more bidders, the better the price.
Right.
You get.
But there'll be a call for bids at some point.
Yeah, there's a process we go through. There's like this trade
Oh,
site.
We're now just putting together what the list is of things that we need to go to the out to bid with.
Right.
What that project looks like.
Right.
That's what we're doing right now.
All right, thanks.
Any idea when that would be completed?
It could be 2 months, it could be 4 months.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you go out to bid, you have to give contractors usually 45 days, 30 to 60 days to respond to the bids, to ask questions. When one contractor asks a question,
When
That
will the
answer-
list be done for them to get the list?
he's working on it,
Right.
hopefully in a couple weeks. So hopefully in 2 or 3 weeks or sooner. So,
I know he was down there
I was
today.
just gonna say, yeah, our goal, and I think we agree, is to have a real data-informed decision here based on numbers, and just come back and have discussions about those numbers, and I'm, look forward to seeing those.
So will the heating situation with the grant, so that will happen no matter what, the heating?
we're going to do that, yeah.
Yeah, that's happening.
That's
Because
happening.
even if you were not to keep the building.
Right, that's done. It decarbonizes.
Yeah,
it.
we want to
decarbonize
decarbonize
the
that building.
so.
It was actually, it was in a funny kind of way, it was good. I know the delay wasn't great, but the delay was good in some ways because I think if we'd pushed through some of the suggestions that were on the grant, it could have gotten us into a lot of trouble. And this way we were able to sort of figure out, oh, actually, this is a better solution. And it's going to make the building much more comfortable for everybody. So.
Thank you for doing that.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, motion to adjourn. So moved. Second. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Tim.
Bye, Tim.
Thank you guys for your hard work.